Welcome to our next webinar called ModelSearch for Creo Parametric with Windchill. We are proud to show you today our newest release of ModelSearch and the success story behind it. When I talk from us, then I'm happy to introduce my colleague Wolfgang Hofer. He will later on show you roughly 40 minutes ModelSearch in the newest release 5501 live. My name is Gerhard Schwab, and I'm happy to moderate today this webinar and introduce the newest functionality. Some tips and tricks on the beginning for the first GoToWebinar users. You have the possibility on the chat area and on the question area on the right bottom side in between the webinar to already get questions to us. We will, in the meantime of the webinar, answer your questions. And on the end of the session, we will do a summary and give you some information about what's next. So when I talk from TechSoft, then we are a very, very long-term partner of PTC, HB, and Missler. So we have in our area, in Central Europe area, that means mostly Austria, a lot of customers where we are helping them to have the best functionalities out of their product development environment. And that means that we are introducing additional solutions along the PTC standard solutions. Over 30 years now on the market, and we are also proud to have more than 29 resellers worldwide. So I know that we have today attendees from more or less all over the world. So welcome once more to our extended customer and prospect area. We have prospects and customers out of Germany, Switzerland, Belgium, the Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, Finland, UK, Ireland, France. I have seen somebody out of Turkey. We have a lot of today's attendees out of the United States and as well out of South America. So welcome once more. What will you see in the next couple of minutes? We have started in '91 to introduce our first so-called standard software solution with the name Part Library. This product, mostly of you, and I know we also have PTC and several resellers attending the call today, is something what you can order via the PTC price book. So we started almost in '91 as a reseller having the own product standard solutions as add-on. And this Part Library we also have introduced for Creo Parametric and in combination with Windchill in 2012, beginning with Creo 2.0 and with Windchill, more or less 10. Now we have over 45 add-on solutions for the PTC product portfolio, which all have the same focus, helping you on a day-to-day business to get more value out of your used solutions so far. So, for example, if you have some requests or internal situation that somebody is asking you, we would like to have a printing solution out of Windchill where non-cut users have the possibility by pressing a button, get all the drawings out of large assemblies, for example, really to start all the stuff from one piece out. We have over 1,500 customers worldwide, and also due to the fact that our roots are out of the manufacturing of the CAM area, We have several customers where we are providing not just a cut and PLM platform. We are delivering there the whole process chain through manufacturing. So we are delivering so-called manufacturing execution solutions, which also have now the Industry 4, the new services technology out of ThinkWorks and IoT already in use. Today we have the focus on the left-hand side, ModelSearch. ModelSearch is really an unbelievable product compared on one hand side on the functionalities and on the other hand side of the fast growing. Why this is, you will see later on when you see the live presentation. So when I go forward, what is all about ModelSearch? And I got a lot of first feedback and objections almost from management and decision makers on our customer and prospect side and said, hey, we have now a Windchill PDMLink in use. Why do we need an additional software to find parts? And the truth is, you're right. But with ModelSearch, your team will be much, much faster. As you can see on that stuff, sometimes it's relatively similar, but it's not the same. And when we started with ModelSearch in the release 1, there was a lot of very, very special things going around. On the one hand side, it was, for sure, everybody likes to reuse the design data as often as possible. The other one is you have the situation that you have new people in your environment who are starting in the design department or in other departments, and they don't have the experience and the know-how where all the parts were used in the different products. And also, we were listening very, very closely to our customers on that point. What would be your needs? And we got an information that, first of all, it has really to be a fully automatically and as well as fully integrated solution. And how we have realized that, you can see here. So first of all, our development team gets a feedback of our first test users. They said, wow, ModelSearch looks so great, but it would be even stronger if we have the ability to get a fully automatically information. It's so-called ModelSearch Live. When I start with my design, that I have to do nothing. I get with a pop-up and I can customize or I can adjust it how I'd like to have this information. But the really key point is you get this information fully automatically. You can interactively search out of Creo, interactively out of Windchill. You can use all the stuff. And for sure, you have the possibility to check for duplicate. That means 100% identical geometrical paths. The next bucket, which is also very, very important, is that nobody likes to have additional administration work. And we take care about that so that the so-called geometrical footprint generation, which is the technology behind that and makes everything possible, comes out of the box, and there is no additional work and no additional formats, no neutral data or whatever, no classification work. And that is really the dream of a lot of our customers and users and administrators. Last but not least, it must be fully integrated, and what could be better than you have the application as a native application, and that's what we have done. We are a product development solution provider from PTC since '94, and so we have fully integral the situation in Windchill and in Creo. And the outcome, the value, we have very, very large customers, but also we have small and medium business size customers where we have 10, 15, 20 designers and maybe 30 Windchill users at all, and we get return on invest of the system lower or less than 9 months. We have one very special situation where we got the feedback in a written commitment from the management team that ModelSearch has a payback for them less than 3 months. So for sure, it has to work, it has to be fast, it has to be out of the box. But what else? What we get as information is, and that was really one of the situation and the foundation why customers decided for ModelSearch are several reasons. First of all, it's really fast to implement. It's very, very fast and very easy to use. And it's very, very secure in having updates. When you have updates, that also ModelSearch works in the whole environment. The result out of that and our latest customers, what we generated with our partners, you can see here. And they come all along out of different PTC solution areas. So we have today Creo and Windchill. So for example, therefore we have KTM as customer, we have Jesse in Italy, we have Bucher Leichtbau in Switzerland, we have the Liebherr Group worldwide, we have, you name it. Also, we are very, very proud and once more welcome to our US team and to our United States customers, Ingersoll Rand, Miller-Groen and Hydroforce. So we are really fast growing also in this area right now. So that should give you a first introduction of what is ModelSearch all about. Right now, I'm looking in the packet if you have any questions so far. Otherwise, I will hand over to my colleague, to Wolfgang Hofer, and he will show us together ModelSearch live. I can see that we have so far no question. Okay, so I will change and give Wolfgang now the possibility to show us the solution. Okay, Wolfgang, I can see your screen and I also can hear you. Very good. Just for your information, Wolfgang, I will look in the background. We have seen that we have had some questions or requests regarding Addendee link. I will send it out once, but you can start with the presentation. Everything we have recorded, so we can later on hand out to everybody who is interested.
Okay, many thanks.
Thank you very much.
This is Wolfgang speaking. This is Wolfgang Hofer speaking from Austria TechSoft, and the discussion here is now about ModelSearch. First of all, let me tell a little bit about ModelSearch. ModelSearch is working with a footprint. We call it a footprint and what is behind the footprint. For instance, if we have this part here inside, we have here in the ribbon with ModelSearch the possibility here to check the footprint of this part. And if we look to the footprint, you will see the footprint is nothing else than a lot of numbers, digits, and so on. So you will see here the whole part we have here on the side has 149 surfaces, the whole part. 58 of them are plane surfaces, 24 outside cylinder, 59 inside cylinder, 29 holes. What's the difference between inside cylinder and holes? A hole is a 360-degree loop inner cylinder, and the other inner cylinders maybe have less than 360 degrees. Maybe this is the inside of the blade here, and so on and so on. But there are some more things in the footprint. For instance, what is the the maximum outside diameter is 155. What is the minimum outside, the maximum inside, the minimum inside, and so on. The next one is we have here 3 dimensions maximum, medium, and minimum. This means if we create a block around this part, the minimum block size of this block has 250 millimeters in this case, or some more information like what's the volume, what's the density, and so on and so on. So you can imagine it doesn't matter how complex a part is, the data size for the footprint is near always the same. Yeah. So, and this footprint is the information we use for checking for similar parts or checking for duplicate parts. So, we can use model search first of all during the creation process. So, for instance, if I create a new part, we do this in this area. So, for instance, I say, okay, this is so. We want to create an extrude on this plane, and we select a rectangle. For instance, the dimensions for the rectangle maybe is here 6 millimeters. On this length, it's 280. Yeah, okay. And the head of this maybe is 15 millimeters. So all this during the regenerate process, a window appears on the bottom. The setting I use is the bottom here, and you will find a little bit information about the most similar parts here. But what is similar? We use different possibilities to set up what is the similarity. For instance, in this case, I do the regeneration once more again, and you will see here the result. The result window from ModelSearch Live shows those parts, and you can see the information. There is 8 models found with cores. Cores is the weighting, the quantifier we use, and the quantifier cores means if a model has near the same bounding box, it will be displayed. It doesn't matter if there is one hole or if there are 2 holes, if there are chamfers, and so on and so on. It doesn't matter. The most important thing, of course, is use nearly the same bounding box. And we had the bounding box with 280 by 60 by 50, so 15. So you see here the next is 300 by 60 by 15, 270, and so on. So we have a little bit of a possibility to show a little bit more information of the parts in the setting area here, yeah, from ModelSearch Live. So if we change the quantifier, like cores we have here for cores. For instance, we check here for, we have different quantifiers for fine, for instance, and I use the same part looking for a new result. Then you will see fine shows some different objects. Fine, the quantifier fine says, look mainly to parts who have the same shaping. In this case, it means only 6 faces, a block with 6 planar faces. And so you will see here the most similar parts here, they all have 6 plane surfaces. Yeah? Similar size. So here you have the possibility to set up what do you think about similarity. What is the main information you want to look for? So I switch again to cores, So this here, if we do the same, you will see other results. Then we want to modify the part here. For instance, we create a hole on this plane. Okay, this on this side. On this side, the hole should be through the whole model. Here we have a distance of 60. The diameter should be 35. The distance here should be 30. Okay. So, and the next hole, as you will see here, before we had 92% similarity. Now we have 95. But I don't have to stop my work, because always during the regenerate process, the system sends the information about the footprint to the ModelSearch server. The ModelSearch server looks for similar parts. In the background, there will be created a menu like this one with the most similar models with all the information about. So if I do the same again, I create one more hole on this side, or we'll take this one on this here. The diameter here, we take here 20 millimeters, for instance, the same distance here with 30. The distance here should also be 30. Then we see here, okay, through hole, like this one, okay, looks good. So if you look to the result list here, then you see 97%. Yeah. If I do something small like chamfers on this edge, and the dimension should be 15. Okay, we'll do the same once more again, chamfer on this edge and on this edge in the background, but the chamfer this time is 5 millimeters, for instance. And if we are during the construction process, you will see now we get an information that the same model I have created now will be found in the database. So it depends on me what will be the next steps. The best would be to use this model I have in the database, because I have the possibility to work with the model without creating new drawings, without creating a new product number, and so on and so on. This is the first step. So if you use ModelSearch, you get always an information that the models you create are similar or identical in the database. Okay, so let's go to the next example. For instance, we create a new part. Here on this one, a simple part like this. So one information to this pop-up here. If you go with the cursor inside this pop-up, the pop-up will stay here on the screen until you remove it with the X, or if the next pop-up will overdraw the existing pop-up. So in this case, for instance, if I say, okay, this is for me 150, and this one should be 300, yeah, it's okay, and the height should be 50, for instance, yeah. Regenerate, request to the system, and to get the information like this one. Look at the same, the core. So we have 300 by 300 and the height 52. I have created a part with 50. So we have similar parts. And exactly the same, if I switch here, to another quantifier, fine. So if we have the same here again, fine. think about the information from before. In this case, parts will be found that have the same shape. The same shape means, in this case, two planar faces, one inside cylinder, one outside cylinder. The most similar parts from the size, from the volume, and so on, to the existing part here. This is the difference here. So, but if we change something about this, for instance, we say here, okay, take the inside. Let's create a new part. Yes. We do this in this case. So once more, exclude this one. Okay, a circle. In this case, a small part. I only want to create a small part here. The inside diameter is 10 millimeters. The outside is, let's take 20 millimeters. Yes, okay. And the height should be 60. Yes, okay. Then you will get an information about parts. They are similar. Here, the same found with the quantifier, fine. If we use the same again here with rough or coarse, this one. So then the information is a little bit more. And you can think about, okay, I get an information that there are similar parts, and as we have seen here, the outside diameter of the similar parts also have 20. But what is the difference to the part I've created? And we have seen here in the ModelSearch Live written here, we have the bounding box maximum 60 by 20 by 20. It's okay, because if you have 3 times the same value, it is a sphere or it's a dice, yeah? And in this case, we know 20 millimeters have to be the outside diameter. But what's the difference? Very simple. The difference can only be, in this case, maybe the inside diameter. So it's very important to know or to get information what is here inside this model. So instead of using the ModelSearch Live information, we have the possibility to say, search for this model in the Windchill. Yeah, and then you get all those parts here. You see this number, this one, 93%, and you can see here, okay, this is this, and so on and so on. So, important in this case is we get more information. Not only the name, not only the bounding box dimensions, like here, 60 by 20 by 20, this is the bounding box. We get here the information, this part has one hole, the hole diameter is 9 millimeters. This one hole, the hole diameter is 8 millimeters. Yeah, this one has 12 millimeters. This has 2 holes. So I think one hole from the one side, one hole from the other.
Wolfgang, we no longer can hear you. Could be that your audio equipment needs to be reconnected. If you can hear me, just please give me a sign in the chat area. And all the attendees, sorry for any inconveniences so far caused. We have technical issues on the beginning of the webinar. We got informed from the solution provider that there was a system down. So sorry for that. I have sent it out a new link. If you would like to forward it also to some colleagues, please feel free. And sorry once more for having any inconveniences. The whole presentation is recorded, and later on today we'll send it out to you. And thanks for your understanding. Wolfgang, in the meantime, we still cannot hear you. Please do me a favor and reconnect. Now I can see your phone. Wolfgang?
I'm here inside.
Okay, now we can hear you again. You was unmuted.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead. Thank you.
Sorry about this problem because the phone line has broken. So I will recap. We have here an information of all the parts, and you get here a little bit more information, like the hole diameter, like number of inside cylinders, and so on. And you can see here there are some more information, and it's on you to set up what information from the footprint should be shown here in this area. Yeah, and if we think about all those informations of the footprint, yeah, you can imagine that it would be maybe a little bit easier to use ModelSearch with the footprint to find parts I want to find. For instance, if I want to find this tube I've created before, this tube you have seen has two planar faces, one outside cylinder, one inside cylinder. But we have created this part and we got an information that there are similar parts in the database available. So without creation this part, it's also possible to find those models. And we can do this in the Windchill area. So if we go to the Windchill area, we have here a part here, model search, and we have here the possibility for a parameter search. And with the parameter search, we have the possibility to create different attributes for using for the search. For instance, I go to one of them for this dimension maximum from this value to this value, medium, minimum. But we can also say, okay, I want to have a numeric field here. The attribute should be, for instance, I say the number of planar faces, number of plane faces. Yeah, and once more, for instance, the number of outside cylindrical faces. Yeah, so if I think one more, a number of faces, surfaces together. So number of surfaces should be 4, because we know 2 planar faces, one outside cylinder, one inside cylinder. Number of outside cylinders should be 1. Number of planar faces should be 2. So I remove those 3. So if we create now a search, the result of all those parts we found here will be this. Yeah, all of those parts have 2 planar faces, 1 outside cylinder, 1 inside cylinder, and altogether 4 surfaces. If we want to check a little bit about the size, so it's possible to use the range, for instance. I take this once more. I say here the dimension maximum should be between maybe 60 and 70. Search. Yeah? And you can see here only 34 objects in the whole database have all those informations, not more. Yeah? Or if I want to say, no, it should be exactly 60, so I can use the range between 60 and 60, or can use numeric and the fixed value 60, for instance. I use this one. The result is this, 17 objects here. And you see here the medium is 20, 60, 40, so I can a little bit change. For instance, I use this one and say the medium, the outside cylinder, outside dimension maximum. I use this one. Has to have 20. Yes, search. This is the result. So we have here parts with the dimension maximum 60, with the outside diameter 20. So we have a little bit the same than before, but only the parts where all the attributes I've selected before match with the information I set it here inside. So this is one of the possibilities to use the parameter search. And it's possible to store specific parameter searches. For instance, if I want to look often to parts like this tube, so we can use saved searches, and we have some of them here available. For instance, we have one called tubes. And this selects all those information. Then you can see number of inside cylinders, exactly 1. Number of outside cylinders, exactly 1. Number of planes, exactly 2. The dimension maximum is the dimension medium. The dimension maximum is the dimension minimum. Outside dimension maximum is the dimension minimum. And then the selection here is the maximum size should be less than 500. So if I say here, okay, show me all of them with exactly the dimension 60, we can use this one. This is the result. Let's look to other saved searches. If we go to this one, for instance, you see here plate 4 holes. A plate with 4 holes means we have a number of planar faces 6. We have the number of holes 4 and a little bit more information. So if I look to this one, I will find all those parts where we can select and with all the dimensions. So if I want to check a little bit about the dimensions, I can change the criteria. For instance, I can say, okay, we want to have one numeric value exactly as an addition, and we say here the dimension maximum should be 100 millimeters. Search. Only those few parts have it. Or if I go here inside and say, okay, let's look to 140 millimeters. Search. Yeah. All those parts have 4 holes here inside. Not more, not less. This is the information we can use with the parameter search. So, and if we have some examples here as a result list, we have the possibility to mark some of them. For instance, we have a thing called gallery view. Gallery view looks like this one. We have a preview of the parts here, yeah, and so on. We have the possibility to get a little bit more of information for this, and so on and so on. This is the gallery view we can use here inside the Windchill. All the marked elements here. So it's very important, for instance, if we use the result list from the similarity search here. Once more, if we find parts here in Windchill, this is the result here. I go a little bit less down here, and so you will see, for instance, this part, this one, maybe this part. And if I say here, okay, I want to have an information about similar models here inside Windchill, and you will see here the result. Yeah, it's always from exactly the model you select here. So we have the parameter search. We have the parameter search with criteria. And let's look about information, what we also can use for searching for different models with the parameter search. So if we are here inside and go to the parameter search, and we have a little bit another problem, for instance, and the other problem I want to show here. If I say, okay, I get this picture and I want to find this model in the database, but we have a second picture, this one. Yeah. So if we want to find this part, we have to think about informations, what could be the size, and so on and so on. So if we are here now inside the parameter search, we have the possibility to say, okay, what's important for us? We can say, look, for instance, we use this one. So if we say, the model, I think, has a size, has a maximum size between 200 and 400 millimeters. 200 up to 400 millimeters. The medium size, maybe this is between 20 and 50. Let's look once again. This one, okay, between 20 and 50. And maybe the minimum size here of a bounding box, maybe this is between 15 and 30, maybe. Between 15 and 30. So look for it. So you get a list of 89 objects found. And so I have to think about looking at either to all those models or looking to one more information. And in this case, I'd say, okay, because if we say this medium size is between 20 and 50, maybe this diameter here inside maybe is between 15 and 30, for instance. So in this case, I set up a new range, and the range is here for the outside diameter, inside, sorry, this is the inside diameter maximum. This one should be between 15 and 30. Maybe the minimum size is a little bit less. Yeah, 10 and 30. Maybe. So, search. Then we have 25 objects. And from all those objects we have here, it's easier to look maybe for parts they could fit. We have a problem. What we have in our parameters, let's look to this one, between inside diameter max. Yes, this one. This one should be, so let's look again, maybe. Oh yeah, here. You will see it. Yeah. So you see, if you change a little bit about the dimensions, you will get part you will find. Another part you've seen before, and a similar problem, I've seen this question from a customer during the training. He asked, is it possible to find this part? And here you have the same thing about. For instance, you see here the dimension maybe is 50, the medium and the minimum size maybe is around 20. Yeah, so you can do the same here. We go to the parameter search, criteria, edit. The dimension here between maybe 40 and 60. Here between 15 and 25. Here between 15 and 25. Inside diameter, I don't know. Search for those. And the results here, you see, don't look as I want. So, but what's the main difference to the part like this one? The number of surfaces in this part. Because if you think about all those teeth, and they say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 15 teeth. Every teeth, 4 surfaces, so the number of surfaces may be much more. So in this case, criteria, range, number of surface between 70 and 1000. Then you have those results. They fit. Yeah. So this is the next possibility to work with model search. So let's look to just. Okay. So one more thing. For instance, we have the possibility to look for parts in this case. So we use this one. If we have this part, you can see there is a hole pattern here inside. And it's possible to find parts with the same hole pattern. For instance, if you use here in the ModelSearch hole pattern search, click on one of the surfaces. The system checks if this is a hole pattern. It doesn't matter if the hole pattern has been created as a pattern here inside Creo, if this is an imported part or whatever. Yeah, look for those, and you will get only parts with the same hole pattern. In this case, it's a hole pattern, a radial hole pattern, 6 holes. The hole pattern circle is 130 millimeters. Yeah, and you get here all those parts. You can also use the hole patterns as possibility for parameter search. I do this once again. For instance, if I'm here inside in the parameter search, so it's possible to say, okay, use this one number of holes, maybe 6. Hole diameter, I'm not interested in. The pattern diameter 130, a radial pattern, look for this. Yeah, get all the information. Parts like this. And you will see we also now in this release 5501, we have the possibility to get information or use hole patterns. They are not all closed like this one. In this part, we have always closed holes, 360 degrees as a loop. In this part, we have 2 of them open. In this part, we have 6 of them open. So we can use all those elements for looking for hole patterns. The next example I want to show is you don't only have the possibility to use single parts for model search. It's also possible to use, for instance, assemblies. If I load this assembly, yeah, and for instance, we do a model search live check, or if we do a database check here, you get an information that also similar assemblies here are available. Yeah, this is the same for assemblies. The next one I want to show is if you have as an information a part like this one. Then it's possible to find if you have a raw part library, for instance, what raw part would be the best to create this finished part. So we have here the possibility to look for this. Think about if you have a 10 sticker, a tree could be the raw part. But in our settings, we have the possibility to say, okay, a raw part has to have less than 300% of the volume of the finished part, and so on and so on. So what should be the maximum dimension for the raw part instead of the finished part, and so on and so on. So if we look to this one, yeah, then you can see it's possible to activate sections. Yeah, these are the most similar parts. So, yeah, this one, and so on and so on. And the raw parts for this. Yeah, see here the shape. See here the shape. So you get an information about this one. And it's not only possible to check for raw parts, it's also possible to check for finished parts. So if you look for this one, raw part and finished part. One more thing about looking for elements here is a new function. We call it look for features. One example. If we want to find this part, you have seen before in the footprints, there is only the information of the outer maximum diameter and the minimum diameter, the inner maximum and minimum diameter, and so on and so on. In this case, we want to find a part where the diameter should be 30, but it's not the maximum and it's not the minimum. Yeah. So if we use this one, once again, here for model search, the parameter search, so we have the possibility to look to use one of those. We say here, okay, outside diameter should be exactly 30 millimeters. One of them, and the dimension maximum, or I can remove it, doesn't matter, and the maximum should be between 120 and 150, for instance. Search. Yeah, and we get all those parts. They fit for exactly the information. Yeah, this one, for instance, could be. Yeah, or if I change it to use for this one, for instance, we see here 2 times 35 millimeters. We can do the same. We go here, 35 millimeters, 2 times, and the dimension should be between 250 and 300. 250 and 300. Search. Only one part available, for instance. This is the possibility to look for parts with specific outside, inside cylindrical faces, cones, and so on and so on. One last thing, let me show. This is the information about duplicate search, because Gerhard Schwab told it's possible to look in the whole database what parts have the same geometry and how often is the same geometry existing. In this case, the duplicate search, if I start this, gets results, and the results we will find here says, for instance, this part is this here. Yeah, you will see with different names, with different colors and so on, but it's always the same geometry. This part is existing 20 times in my database. The next part is existing 30 times. Always the same geometry, but with different article numbers, because all the parts they are in the database have been imported from different systems, from different customers and so on, and that is the information about duplicates. So then the next steps will be yours. What do you do with the information that are duplicates in this area? This was a short overview about model search in the release 5501. If you have any questions, let us know. I think Gerhard should take the command.
Very good. Thank you very much for your impressive presentation, Wolfgang. And once more to all attendees, sorry for having the issues on the beginning. We had technical problems. We get informed from our GoToWebinar solution provider. So everybody of you who attended today get a present from us. You will get, first of all, a document called What's New in ModelSearch 550 as a download for tomorrow. As well, you get a so-called user guide. So for all of your customers that are attending, sorry for our delay. Also for all of our prospects, sorry for that. I'd like to summarize. You can see here on the screen what are the new features and functions. We try to have a mix out of what was in the latest releases, because I'm sure most of you, and I know we have several customers which are still on release 3.4 or 4.51. So there is a lot of new functionalities coming along, and I got some questions in the question area so far. So I'd like to show you what are the prerequisites for ModelSearch in the latest release. So you have to be at least on Creo Parametric 3.0 or higher. So we support 4.0 mostly in our implementations, and as well 5.0. And on the Windchill side, at least 10.2, most likely 11 or also 11.1. From the hardware requirements, you can read everything later on. You get all the slides as well as a download. So what you have seen, the row and finish part search as well, I'd like to inform, because I got a question, is it also possible to handle other cut formats? And the answer is yes. Since two formal releases, we introduced ModelSearch for a multi-cut support. The prerequisites are here. You have to be at least on Creo 3.0. So we are more or less using the Unite technology from PTC. So we are able to support SolidWorks, CATIA V5, Siemens NX, and Autodesk Inventor. And therefore, it's possible also to generate the geometrical footprints, so that you are in a multi-cut environment also can use ModelSearch, and we have several reference customers as well in this area. The beauty for all of your Windchill users, which comes along also on the latest ModelSearch release, is the so-called multi-gallery view, where you can see here, and also Wolfgang have shown. That is really a beauty, because everybody who then is using Windchill also have this functionality. Last but not least, also there was a question, what are the costs of ModelSearch? I can give you a roughly number. So ModelSearch starts with a package for 10 users, floating, so-called real floating users. That means after a time period of more than 20 minutes, if a user is not using ModelSearch, the license is free to use by another user. And the implementation is always depending on how many users you'd like to train, how many parts you have in your database so far. For one example, if you have 10 users on one site, you have less than 300,000 parts, Creo parametric parts in your Windchill environment. The implementation cost and the software cost will be roughly between 25 to 30,000 euro. You have seen here which releases are there, and we are looking forward, because we have several very large customers which will switch next year from Model Manager to Windchill, and they'd like to stay on modeling. So that's why we will, in the next quarter, as you can see it here as an available release, but with the newest functionality, we will have it in Q1 by latest end of March 2019. Also the ModelSearch release for Creo Elements Direct Modeling in combination with PTC Windchill. So that was it for today. Thank you very much for your interest and your invested time today. Hopefully it was a good invest for you. You will get also the recording, and once more, sorry for the technical issues on the beginning. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call us or your reseller who invited you, and we wish you a good day good luck, and for all those we will not have a contact, at least a very strong calendar year finish, and all the best for you. Thank you very much. And Wolfgang, it's now on us to say goodbye. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
It was my pleasure to have you today here on our ModelSearch webinar. Thank you. And I think we have to say goodbye to every attendee.
Thank you very much.
1, 2, 3.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Yes. Thank you. Goodbye, and hear you soon.